I had a page in my art journal that I absolutely hated, and so today I decided to cover it up, and this girl decided to join me. So if you'd like to see how I did this, stay tuned and I'll show you what I did. Hi everyone. I am going to play with acrylic ink again today. I had so much fun with it in my little Dylusions journal yesterday that I thought I would do some more again today. So I had a page started that I really didn't like, but I have some crackle paste in the corners and I had some papers down. I went over the whole thing with black gesso, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but in the light there's little bits of the paper sort of lifted, so I have a little more texture in the background, which I'm fine with. So I'm just going to start building on top of this and see where it goes. I have no idea, but I'm just going to start playing with some acrylic inks and build up a background, and then I'm thinking I might do a face maybe, but I'm not sure. So stick around with me and we'll see where this goes. I'm going to start with Scarlet. These are Daler-Rowney inks. And I'm going to spray it and let it spread out. That's pretty already, huh? Some lemon yellow. I'm getting those bubbles. This is all the way up in here, so hang on, I'm going to get something and pull it down. Okay, I use my tweezers carefully because it's glass, but came down a little bit. I think I started to tell you yesterday, I got those on sale at Michael's, and the blue one came without a dropper tube in it at all. This yellow one, the dropper tube, the dropper tube is pushed all the way up into the bulb. So I'm thinking they're like seconds or something. See, this one's way up in the bulb too. Maybe they're supposed to be like that, but all I get is bubbles. I can't seem to get as much ink in the tube as I want. This is magenta, I think. This is, yep, processed magenta. Get a lot in the middle there. I'm going to get it out of there so that it doesn't all travel through my book to my other pages. Just lift a little out. Okay, just for the fun of it, while that's all wet, I'm going to take this saran wrap, lay it down, and scrunch it up and just get some more texture. Looks like fireworks, huh? Okay. Actually, before I pick that up, I have this mixed media pad. If I can make a spot where I can sit it. I'm going to pick this up and then just sit the wet ink on top of this blank page so as to not waste it all. Put this in here again because I may have to wait for this to dry. I don't want to do that. I'm too impatient for that. It may just because the ink is so thin, but you see what I got here. That's a beautiful start to another background. I'll set that aside to dry. This isn't going to leave quite as much as I'd like. Okay, this is mostly drying. As you can see, the color really dulled down on top of that black. So I'm just going to go again. And I'll just keep building it up. That's the fuchsia, or magenta rather. This is the red, scarlet. And the yellow started to settle into some of these cracks from the crackle paste, so I'm going to kind of concentrate the yellow where those cracks are. Also remember, the color probably partially dulled down because I diluted it with a lot of water. However, I've used these inks on a light colored background and they don't get nearly as dull, so I'm just going to spritz it lightly, just enough to get the ink moving again. Okay, this is going to take a little while to dry, so when it's dry, we will move on. Okay, dry. Again, I did run my roll of paper towels, just ran it over and picked up some of the wetter puddles that didn't want to dry as easily, and I got some cool texture here and there from the paper towel texture. It's still a little duller than I want. By the way, if you're new to my channel and you like to watch kind of experimental, intuitive art, then stick around because that's pretty much how I work. I don't set out normally with a plan in mind. I just kind of decide what my substrate is and what type of materials I want to work with, and then I just start and I just kind of play first to get a background, and then I decide where I'm going with a focal point. So if you like that kind of video, hit my subscribe button and my bell and stick around because I upload usually 2 or 3 times a week generally, so there's always something new to watch. And I love to interact with all of you, so leave me comments and ask me questions and we can play together. So let's move on with this. Not sure what I want to do here. It's just still kind of a little dull and black for my taste. Let's just for giggles, I have golden fluid acrylic in titanium white, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit on my brayer. I'm going to brayer it out kind of thin and even wipe some of it off. And I'm just going to do this and get some lightness on here, and then I'll go again with some of the inks, I think, and See if that helps brighten things up a bit. The other thing, I have some corrugated cardboard. I think what I'll do, while that's still kind of wet, I'm going to take the magenta again. I'm just going to put it across the cardboard. It's starting to soak in really fast. I'm going to wet it a bit with my baby wipe. Let's see if we can get some soaking in too fast. We're going to go faster then. And some spots of magenta here and there. Just random. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up what's left of the white on my baby wipe and just do this. I know it looks like a hot mess. It'll be okay. Promise. It's always going to be okay. And if it's not okay, it's just paint and just paint over it. Alright. Now let's see what happens when I spray this. And let's drop some yellow. That's a dirty brush. Let's go with this. I have just a fuzzy, like, house painting brush. I'm just going to dip it in the water. Okay. And that was the magenta. And let's this is just 91% alcohol. And if you don't have any, good luck finding some, because COVID pretty much took care of that. It's hard to get right now. Alright. See? It's looking better, right? It's brighter. We'll see if it stays bright. We shall see. And I'll be back when this is dry. I might just let it mix a little bit too here. By the way, when you're drying it with the heat tool, you can direct the wet puddles and where you want them to go and let things intermix. So I'm going to do a bit of that too. Careful of your fingers. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, this is about 90% dry. I want to accentuate the crackle sections, so I have just an old stiff brush and some titanium white, and I'm going to load it, and then I'm going to wipe most of it off, and I'm just going to go over those cracks and bring the crackle forward. And I want to see that texture. It's also calming things down a little bit. So now we get to decide where to go from here. I'm going to let it dry. It's not very wet because I didn't put a very heavy application of paint on there for sure. So initially I thought maybe I would paint a face, but I'm not sure. I'm going to just poke around in my stash for some focal images and try and decide where I'm going with this. And I'll see you on the other side. I decided I am going to do a face. I'm going to put her on this side. So I just have some vintage dress pattern papers that I am going to collage down just for another layer of interest and to kind of give an underlayment for the face over here. But I like some of these pieces that have the printing on them, so, and I like to do things in 3 just for composition's sake. So I can see some of the pattern of the background through this paper. The colors are very, very muted, and then when I paint on top of it, I can completely cover them or leave some of them showing a little bit depending on what I want. But it will help give a better under layer for the face over here, so that's why I did that. And we'll give that a dry, and I'm thinking maybe some flowers over here. I kind of see maybe some flower shapes that I could develop on this side. So I'm just going to give this a dry.